The simplest and fastest cardio to be able to kill your body fat based off of your body fat percentage. Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Diamonds. I've been at 30% body fat multiple times, going through bulking phases with the main objective to add muscle tissue and accruing fat tissue along the way. Some may describe my physique as an endomorph, easy for me to get strong, to gain tissue both fat and muscle, and I've gotten to single digit over and over again. And I'm gonna show you the 4 simple steps, the 4 simple cardio routines, and the fastest cardio routines to be able to achieve a similar transformation. Now, my main objective has always been to become a natural bodybuilder as a medical doctor, and I finally achieved that in 2024 of February. And as you guys know, a bodybuilder's main objective is to maintain, if not build as much muscle tissue as possible, and also lose as much fat tissue along the way. And we were finally able to do that. And all the information I'm going to be sharing with you in this video is a culmination of my decade of experience as a medical doctor, as a bodybuilder, and as a scientist. I graduated from a top 200 school majoring in biochemistry and microbiology. I then became a medical doctor. So not only do I understand the body at a physiological level, I also understand the molecular reactions that are happening in the body. And not only that, all the information I'm going to share with you in this video has been put into practice by myself and also each and every single client that I've ever worked with. Look at my client Harry. Going from over 40% body fat to single digit is done by having a concrete plan and following a step-by-step process. And I can tell you this, Harry did not run or do a sprint once in this 90-pound transformation. And not only that, look at my client Sandra, who comfortably lost 50 pounds, regaining her confidence, feeling strong and independent. What an incredible transformation, and doing so by having a sustainable routine and understanding the science. We've been able to do this with Sachin, and Sachin worked with my company Sculpt by Science. I didn't have a direct role in this transformation, but Sachin, with my medical professionals, applied these 4 simple steps, and look at him. He went from being skinny fat to looking like a Greek god. I actually sent him a message today saying, hey man, I think he should compete. His muscle insertions are incredible. Look at his obliques pop. He has a very tight waist. I think you'd do amazing in a men's physique show. And you'll never be able to experience that if you don't follow a step-by-step process. And I promise you, at the end of the video, you're gonna know exactly what to do. And the only thing you have to do is make sure that you're implementing the information I'm about to share with you. But look at Sachin dropping 22.4 pounds, June 2024 to September 2024, dropping 22.4 pounds with his cardio routine. Even my client Nicholas lost 29 pounds. And this belly fat that he got rid of, he lost in 4 weeks with a specific cardio routine that I'm going to share with you in this video. And it was as simple as it can get. Nicholas dropped 29 pounds in his transformation. And one of my ladies who just finished working with us, Trish, dropped 11 kilograms over a 16-week period. She went from having belly fat to having a 6-pack. And not only that, it's amazing to have this beautiful byproduct of having a physique that you're proud of, reinstating your confidence in yourself. But look at Trish and her husband. They both joined the program at the same time. And on the right side, it looks like they've reversed in time. It looks like they're 10 years younger. So not only is cardiovascular exercise amazing for your external appearance, you can then see this couple has added 20 to 30 years of their life by being able to work on their VO2 max, by making sure that they're doing zone 2 cardio. And I'm also going to share with you what both Brent and Trish utilize as cardio routines. So they're over 40 years old, so you have no excuse. They're as busy as you can get, and these 4 simple steps can work for anybody. Now, why I'm so passionate about this is that I've made every mistake in the book. Here you've seen me doing high intensity interval training in my uni days. This is one of my most viral videos that I created about 7 years ago. I've done the air bike, I've done the assault bike, I've done wall slams, I've done every single cardio routine you can imagine. I was desperate in the past, but I now realize that all of these forms of cardio was incorrect, with the main objective of killing body fat simply and quickly. And I'm going to take all of this decade of mistakes and make sure you miss all of those and get to your destination quickly based off of the science. So again, this is a look at each one of my transformations, and the last one was 2024. And the big takeaway here is that cardio is a waste of time. Now you might be asking, Michael, what do you mean if cardio is a waste of time? There's a research paper titled Effects of Aerobic Exercise Induced Weight Loss on the Components of Daily Energy Expenditure. This research paper showed that individuals who followed the same diet but just did cardio lost only 20 to 50% of the body fat that they expected to lose, right? So they were doing cardio they were doing a tremendous amount of cardio, but they had below expectations fat loss. And what that means exactly is this. You're doing 1 hour of cardio 5 days in a week, right? 1 hour of cardio roughly burns about 500 calories. 500 times 5 gives you 2,500. We know 1 pound of fat is equivalent to 3,500 calories. So that means from the 1 hour of cardio you did 5 times in a week, you should have burned 2,500, dividing that by 3,500 calories, meaning you're expected to lose 0.7 pounds of fat extra per week. However, the research showed that people realistically were only burning 0.14 to a maximum of 0.36 pounds per week, which is exactly what you don't want. This is very inefficient, and this we can consider a waste of time. So you're now asking, okay, Mike, you're saying cardio is a waste of time. What do you mean exactly? Now, there's a research paper that was released. It's a systemic review. It's a meta-analysis. In short, this is the research papers of the research papers, a culmination of different research papers combined into one, titled Nutrition and Exercise Interventions to Improve Body Compositions for Persons with Overweight or Obesity Near Retirement Age. And these are the results they found. Now, to show you this graph, this line in the middle shows no weight loss. Now, no aerobic intervention, they saw nothing. People who just did aerobic training, cardio, they lost some weight. Resistance training, the same amount as if you just did cardio. Those who did the 5-2 diet, so they ate for 5 days in the week and then fasted for 2 times in the week, lost a little bit of weight. But as you can see, the individuals who lost the most amount of weight in this group are the ones that involved in energy restriction. Through energy restriction, this group over here lost the most amount of weight. And as you can see, the group that lost the most amount of weight had an energy restriction, they ate a high protein diet, and they exercised. So in short, you need your nutrition in check. You need to have a good training protocol, and including cardio can accelerate your fat loss. The way I want you to think of cardio from now onwards is it's the nitros to your car. If you've ever watched Fast and the Furious, there's a scene where Paul Walker hits the button and the car goes extra fast, and that's the nitros, and that's what cardio exactly is. But in that scene in the movie, his car almost breaks down because the car couldn't handle that level of speed. And I'm gonna make sure that you're not gonna crash or fail in this transformation with all the information I'm gonna share with you. And one of the biggest reasons that cardio is a waste of time for a lot of people who are doing it incorrectly is that you do a thing called compensatory overeating. So what happens is you're doing excessive amounts of cardio, but your body is the most sophisticated organism in the world. It finds interesting ways to conserve your energy and save all those calories for a rainy day. So what happens? You establish a caloric deficit, and all of a sudden your body's starting to find intelligent ways for you to put the calories back in. All of a sudden you're following your diet and you're adding just a little bit more ketchup to your meal. You're adding a little bit more mayo. You're taking a bite of your partner's meal. You're having a few more cheat meals in the week, and then you find yourself at the end of the week with 0 pounds lost, and a year passes. I go to gyms all the time. I was in South Africa 2 weeks ago and I hadn't been there in a year. And out of that entire local gym, I only saw one girl transform. Everybody else looked the same. And the big reason is the overeating, because you're just doing too much cardio. Another thing that plays a massive factor why individuals hit a roadblock with their fat loss is a thing called metabolic adaptation. Now here we have your total daily energy expenditure, also known as TDEE. This is a nice graph depicting 100% of all the calories your body burns. The biggest one, which takes about 70%, is your basal metabolic rate. The second biggest one is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, as you can see, it goes from 70% to 85%. That's just 15% of your total energy expenditure. But let me show you how important your NEAT is to your ability to losing fat. A person who's chair-bound, who's just locked onto a chair, doesn't move at all, burns roughly 500 calories. Someone who does seated work, maybe you work a desk job, but you go to the toilet, but no option of moving, can burn as much as 750 calories. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, someone working in agriculture, maybe a construction worker, burns an extra 2,500 calories. So your NEAT plays a massive role in your ability to lose weight. So all those people you say, wow, you have a fast metabolism. What's likely happening is that they're just more active naturally based off of their life circumstances and how they behave. Now, with a lot of people who do a lot of cardio, you may spend an hour on the treadmill and then lay on the sofa the entire day because you're beat, which completely defeats the purpose of cardio in the first place. So you may be asking, okay, Mike, I get it. Not to worry, I'm gonna show you what to do And all the 4 points are so important, but it's important we establish a foundation to our knowledge of cardio. It should be a tool and it should be used simply and quickly. Let's dive straight in. Step number 1 that I'm going to share with you is intensity. Step number 2, modality. Step number 3 is going to be frequency. And step number 4 is duration. Now, let's talk about intensity. Intensity is the biggest factor that would determine how many calories you're burning per minute, right? At the very low end, if you're crawling, you're burning the least amount of calories. And at the very high end, if you're sprinting and you cannot even get in your next breath, that is a very high intense amount of cardio. And that's going to determine the speed of how much calories you're burning. But we want to hit the sweet spot. Now, what I want to share with you is this. In bodybuilding, we distinguish intensity between low intensity steady state cardio and high intensity interval training. And in the middle, we also call it moderate intensity steady state. Personally, I prefer to look at a person's maximum heart rate during a session and for how long that heart rate has been sustained. Now, there's a quick chart that I wanted to show you. And it's very simple, and once you understand this chart, you will know where you need to be in terms of intensity and why it makes sense. The first thing I want you to pay attention to is on the y-axis, we have your heart rate, right? Think of this as the speed of your engine. 72 heart rate, and it increases to 127, 138, 144, and 153. And naturally, you can see you're burning more calories the more you go down this line. And also, something to note is that based off of this information, at a lower heart rate, your body's burning most of those calories as fat, almost 80%. And the higher the heart rate goes, the less dependent your body becomes on fat as a substrate, as an energy source. And in completely inverse proportion, when you're at a lower heart rate, your body's using less carbs. And when you're at a faster heart rate, your body's using more carbs. So the way you need to think about this is that when you're going slow in town, your body's using the electric engine. But when you need to go quick, your body's using the combustion engine. But in our case, we want to use as much fat as possible. So how do we utilize this and what information should we take? I see the biggest jump in terms of calories burned per minute from 72 to 127 beats, right? So it's almost a 10x from 1.4 to 11.5. And also a nice little jump from 13.4. But as you can tell, from 138 to 144, the jump of total calories per minute is actually diminishing. So you're not getting that extra benefit for going from a higher rate. So in my opinion, it is much better to do cardio within that 120 to 140 beats per minute. Based off of this, you're burning the most amount of fat per minute and also the most amount of carbs per minute. You're in this healthy middle that will give you the best elicited results. And we call this zone 2 cardio. And this is also depicted in this graph. So you can see these dashed lines here. It says plasma-free fatty acids. This is fat that's been released into the blood to be able to be utilized as a source of energy. You can see that this dashed line is the biggest at 25% of VO2 max. VO2 max stands for the total amount of volume and oxygen your lungs are taking, right? The maximum amount. At 25%, it's you just walking like you would normally. And then when you're sprinting and you can barely hold a conversation, you would consider that 85% VO2 max. And as you can see, you will burn the most amount of fat or free fatty acids at 25%. And this is an amazing line graph that shows this. On the y-axis, we have the substrate metabolism, what's being used as a source of energy. And as we go from left to right, we increase the intensity. So it's very high with fats in the beginning. As we increase the intensity, our dependence on fats decrease, and inverse proportion. As we increase intensity, we use carbs, and that makes sense. Carbs is the number one fuel source. Your brain's number one fuel source is carbohydrates. The same for your muscle. And the more you need it and the more quicker you need it, we will use carbohydrates every single time. So how do I use this information to my advantage? Number one, zone 2 cardio is an amazing form of cardio. We want to be doing a total of 200 minutes of zone 2 cardio per week. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Now you may be asking, okay, Mike, what exactly is zone 2 cardio? The definition, textbook wise, it's 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. So if your max heart rate is 200 beats per minute, you want to multiply 60% by 200, which will take you roughly to that 120 beats per minute, right? But it will vary from person to person. And let me show you guys an illustration of my heart rate, right? So this is me on a Stairmaster. It shows you my average heart rate to being 141 beats per minute. And you can see I was very intentional about hitting that number and staying in zone 2 cardio. In 30 minutes, I burnt a total of 454 calories. And as you can see by this graph here, I spent 26 minutes and 50 seconds in zone 2. And my zone 2, according to my Apple Watch, is 133 to 145 beats per minute. Now, I do know that an Apple Watch should not be a gold standard of measuring, but it is inconsistently consistent. It is a fantastic comparative tool, and it is consistent whenever I compare my 30-minute or my 1-hour markers. So if you want to see if you're ever in zone 2, you can do that on your Apple Watch. Before I move into step number 2, if you want to be able to achieve a similar transformation to Brent and Trish or to Sachin, and you're at a point where you've tried everything, you're feeling suboptimal, your energy isn't there, you feel like you're not the same version of yourself that you were in your 20s, you feel you're suboptimal, you have low sexual drive, and your self-confidence is shattered, and you want your life back. This is very similar to the position a lot of our clients are in their 40s to 50s, where they've worked a tremendous amount in their life. They've achieved the financial and life success that they've always wanted, but it's come at a cost of their health. You've tried all of these things before. You've tried intermittent fasting, keto, you've counted calories, you've maybe even taken some of the advice that I've shared with you here, but you're still hitting a roadblock. You've done all of these things. Then I would say, I highly recommend considering working with Sculpt by Science. We're a team of medical professionals specialized in medicine 3.0. Medicine 2.0 is concerned with you go to the doctor, they ask you what symptoms you have, and they give you some medication and they tell you to be on your way. With medicine 3.0, the first objective is to be able to take a customized approach to everything that is happening in your body. We have an in-depth analysis of each and every single metric in your body, from your blood panels to the way your environment is set up. We analyze everything, and we utilize a formula that I've created over the last 10 years called the DNA sequence. We're a team of medical professionals, and I consider us the in case of emergency break glass. If you've tried everything and it didn't work, I highly consider you apply to work with us. It's myself, Dr. Zeno, Coach Max, we have Dr. Pine, and a team of medical doctors that will assist you with not only regaining your energy, being optimized, doubling your energy, living longer, feeling younger, and moving faster, but also getting that six-pack along the way as a beautiful byproduct. I highly recommend you apply to work with us. Over the 4 years of Sculpt by Science, we've had a 99% success rate, and that is because we pick the best people to be able to work with us to see that transformation. They're business owners, executives, doctors, IT specialists, guys working in Apple and Microsoft. We have musicians, we have artists, we have consultants, and their age is 36 years old and above. If you're the individual who's tried everything, you fall into these categories, we have found that we have a 99% success rate with these people. If you don't fall into any of the categories that I've just listed, that's not to worry. I have 800 videos that you can consume on here for free, and the free advice is amazing. Working with us is if you don't want to be worrying about it and you want someone to get you directly to your destination, but you can just consume the free content. So if you feel like you still want to be able to do this on your own, or you just want accountability, please do not apply. Or you're planning on traveling and you want to start in a month from now, I highly recommend you apply then when you're ready to get started. This way we can save our time as a family-run business because we're a small company, and you can save your own. We are a premium product, so I highly recommend you do the free stuff first, get as far as you can, and then apply to work with us. But if you are that person who falls in all the categories I've mentioned, you've tried everything, and you want a guaranteed way to get to your final destination and improve your health, then I invite you to have a similar transformation to Trish and Brent, as I asked their permission to share these photos, and we have hundreds of these. This was Trish's message. Dr. Mike, your team made it so easy and simple. The communication and the support, both via WhatsApp and weekly Zoom calls, assisted us so much. The ease of the use of the app, the tracking progress via weekly photos and measurements, and all the workouts and meal plans at our fingertips, and all set up for success during the program. And now for the rest of our life. Thank you. And I want to thank you. This is what I live for. And hopefully I'm being able to do the same to you guys in this video. So if you feel like any of the advice I've ever given you has been helpful, leave the video the thumbs up and share your cardio routine in the comment section down below, because that can inspire the next person. And if you want a similar transformation, it's the first link in the description. Fill out the application to work with us. Let's get back to the video. Step number 2, modality. What mode of cardio are we going to use? Now, what type of cardio we'll be using? It can be swimming, hiking, treadmill, elliptical, stairmaster, boxing. You get to choose, but I'll tell you which one is the simplest and which one is the fastest. Scientific literature finds that high impact cardio is more likely to interfere with muscle building goals. And the reason for that is when you're doing constant pounding of your joints, it is very difficult for your muscle tissue to recover because it's trying to correct all the damage you've done to the joints as well. Lower impact on your musculoskeletal and nervous system as to reduce interference with weight training. To build and maintain and lose fat, the best cardio is one that has minimal physical impact and increases your heart rate. So these are my top 5: the elliptical, incline walking machine, stairmaster, swimming, cycling, and rowing. And as you can see, those ones have the minimal amount of impact. These are the simplest cardios you can use, and it's the only cardio you need. You don't need to be doing any of the HIIT or crazy work to be able to have a transformation like the ones I've shown you. Now, the big reason for that is because of all the inflammation you're causing in your body that interferes with your ability to lose fat. Look at all these players. Look at Michael Jordan icing their knees, LeBron James icing their knees because they're trying to recover quick enough so they can play the next game. This is not, you shouldn't be doing those high impact cardio routines if you're not a professional. It's not necessary for fat loss. My favorites, and you guys can see, I love the walking, inclined walking, assault bike, anything that is low impact, any of the simple tools. That's what I want you to use as a mode. So again, you can just walk. You can walk on an incline. You can cycle. You can use an elliptical, which is a massive favorite for bodybuilders. And finally, I love the Stairmaster. Those are the 5 simple tools you can use, but the simplest is walking. You can just walk outside and accumulate a certain number of steps, which we'll talk about more. Frequency, number 3, that has to do with how often are you doing it. And I'm gonna set some rules here. How many times per week will you practice aerobic training? Informal cardio, I want you to walk every day for the rest of your life. Those are one of the cardinal rules I set to my clients. From this day onwards, I tell you, 8,000 steps, and I don't want to see a number under that. And we keep on increasing that over time. And I want you to set the same rules for yourself. Say 8,000 steps and no more. And that's just not for the sake of fat loss. That's for your ability to have a healthy cardiovascular system, to avoid cardiovascular disease in the future, for your own mental health. Informal cardio. And then in formal cardio, I consider using a specific machine with a target heart rate. And we can range from 0 sessions per week to 7 sessions, even more. And depends on your goals. Step 4 is duration. How long are you gonna do that cardio for? And we're gonna show you how to be able to do this simply. Now, again, we spoke about informal cardio, which is just walking. Formal cardio requires a specific machine and a target heart rate, and also the duration. Now, when I did informal cardio, if you're at 30% body fat, this is where you need to start. This is the simplest one. Please, only walk. Walk only. Don't do anything else. Because if you start running or you start doing any of the more high intense things, the likelihood that that is unsustainable is very high. You need to do, the person who does cardio 365 days per week will beat anybody who cannot sustain their cardio on a daily basis. So walking will always be the king of cardio because there's no excuses and you'll be able to walk every day. So if you're at 30% body fat plus, this is what you should do, walking only. Most people don't even consider walking as a cardio tool because according to mayoclinic.org, the average American is getting 3,000 to 4,000 daily steps. And I have so many people will apply to work with us at Sculpt by Science. And my first question is, hey, let's have a look at your health app. And I see you're at 3,000 to 4,000 steps. And I'm like, why? Why are you not doing more? It's the first, as your coach, as your future coach, it's the first piece of advice I've given you and you haven't even done it. Please walk more. That's all you need to do. In my experience, this is overall very low activity. With every single client I've ever worked with, when we've at least doubled their daily steps, their weight flies off and they avoid the sagging skin. They avoid all the side effects, the tiredness that you get from that cardio. Just double this number of 4,000 to 8,000. And these are the 10 commandments of informal cardio. This is how you hit 8,000 to 10,000 steps with your eyes closed. Number 1, you want to stand up for the last 5 minutes of every hour. So let's say you start your day at 8 a.m. At 8:55, you stand up and walk for 5 minutes. 9:55, you walk for 5 minutes. 10:55 until 8 p.m. And over the next 12 hours, that means you've walked for 60 minutes. That gives you 6,000 steps. Walking to the gym and back. Walk to your gym and walk back. Walk in between sets. So when you're doing an exercise, you get 60 seconds of rest minimum. So instead of texting on your phone, you can be walking and texting on your phone. And every minute will give you 100 steps. If you do anywhere between 18 and 20 sets, you can get between 1,800 and 2,000 steps in the gym alone. Take the stairs when you can. Walk 15 minutes before your workout as a warm-up, that's 1500 steps. And then walk 15 minutes after your workout, that's another 1500 steps. So if you get 1500 before and after, and 2000 in between, that gives you 5,000 steps in total that you can get just by being in the gym. Park your car further away, start establishing that habit, and walk to where you need to, walk to the grocery store. Just establish this habit. Whenever I go to the grocery store or I'm buying camera equipment, my wife is marching like a madman in the gym, or a mad woman, and she'll be like, haha, got 2,000 steps. I'm like, damn, you're right. You're saving time and you're being efficient. And now this is just a habit, and she's in incredible shape. My mom does the same thing. So why shouldn't you establish and ingrain this healthy habit? I get so passionate about walking because it's literally the one thing I believe that can reverse the rates of obesity and all the stuff that we're doing. Walk more. Use an under the desk walking pad. A lot of you have desk jobs, or you're seated at home watching TV. Get a walking pad and watch TV while you're doing it. Be active, right? Walk right after a meal so you can digest better. Bring your sugar levels down. Walk while you're on the phone. That's the rule I've given myself. If I'm texting, I need to be walking. Wake up 30 minutes earlier and walk around the block. And if you come back from working in the evening, put your stuff down, right, at your home, and then go for a walk around the block. Those are the 10 commandments. And I wanted to share with you this walking pad. This $199, this $200 can be the best investment you do into your health. I'm not associated with the brand at all, but this is the number one thing I tell each and every single one of my clients to do. Look at one of my clients, Shannon, and what she has to say. She's a busy mom, and she's running a whole company, an investment firm. See what she has to say.
Number two, which I actually think I should have said it number one, because this was the biggest difference and the first time anyone had said it to me. If you can get at least 10,000 steps a day, every day without fail, we're going to move that up. Walking is going to make the biggest difference of doing 10,000 steps a day. So I was already kind of going there. And then you said, okay, we're going to keep pushing that up. Last week, I was at 13,000. The week before, I was at 14,000 steps. As you can see, I'm in my office. I actually even have a treadmill at my desk. And so that's how I accomplished it.
So all you need to do is go on Amazon, type on there walking pad. I even have two at my home. I have one right behind me and one in the TV room. So there's no excuses. I hit 15,000 steps easy. So a quick cheat sheet, right? 5 minutes of walking will give you 500 steps. 10 minutes of walking will give you 1,000 steps. And this is a nice, easy way to remember. So if you see your Apple Watch, you see you're at 5,000 and you need to get to 10,000, it means you have 50 minutes to be able to give you 5,000 more steps. Very easy. And also, if you want to be able to play around with it, 1 hour of walking will give you 6,000 steps. The speed you're normally walking at is 3 miles per hour. And you can also increase your speed by double and double the amount of steps. Now, as you guys can see, here I have a beautiful chart showing people between the height of 5'6" and 5'11", who are 200 pounds, who walk 10,000 steps, roughly burn 500 calories. So the science is there. You will burn more calories just by walking, and also you'll avoid all of the negative side effects that I mentioned earlier. Now, like I mentioned, we want to also be doing zone 2 cardio, having a heart rate between 120 to 140 beats, and this is when we're going to get to formal cardio. So here is the bread and butter. The simple cardio I want you to do at 30% body fat is walk. Week 1, 8,000 steps. Week 2, 8,500. Week 3, 9,000. But if you're fitter, fast forward to 10,000. So start at week 5, and then if you want to be able to see faster results, increase your step count by 1,000. And this may be a lot more taxing and maybe a lot more time consuming, but it will be sustainable. So if you feel like you're fit and you're at 30%, you can start at 10,000 steps and work your way all the way to 20,000 steps. That is the simple way. And the fastest way is simply just ramping the number of steps you're walking. My client Nicholas that I showed you earlier, we did a step challenge for 4 weeks and he got his steps all the way up to 18,000 steps. And his belly fat disappeared. Walking is going to be your best bet to be able to get a transformation like that. So here we can see what's the science behind it. And as you can see, someone who's 200 pounds, now you can look at what your range is, but at 200 pounds, between the height of 5'6" and 5'11", if you're walking 8,000 steps, that's roughly 400 calories you're burning. If you're walking 10,000 steps, you're burning roughly 500 calories. And we know 500, if you're doing 10,000 steps a day, 500 times 7 is equal to 3,500, which is equivalent to 1 pound of fat. So you can be burning an extra pound of fat just by walking alone. Again, as I mentioned before, your diet has to be in check. This is a simple way. The fast way is to simply walk more. So just keep on increasing. Now, this is the beautiful part. When you're in that 29 to 20% body fat range, you want to start adding another tool of cardio, which is formal cardio, right? I want you to be walking your steps, like I mentioned earlier, but we also want to integrate formal cardio. So you'll start off by week 4 doing 3 sessions of 15 minutes. Now in that 3 sessions of 15 minutes, I want you to be in zone 2, and that's why I was explaining zone 2 cardio. And you guys can screenshot all of this information and say this is the exact protocol, and come back in 10 weeks and thank me, okay? Come back to this video and say, Mike, you are a G, because I'll appreciate it, and leave the video the thumbs up. But follow this cardio protocol, just copy it. You'll be good. And your only goal with your heart rate is to get between 120 to 140 beats. If you're a savage like me, you'll get to that 140 mark like you saw in my own screenshots. And the tool you use can be the walking pad, can be the elliptical, it can be an incline walk, it can be a Stairmaster, it can be a rower, as long as you're in that range of heart rate. So we include formal cardio. And these are the treadmill settings, 3 miles per hour, and you can be at an incline of 3% to 7%, as long as your heart rate gets above the 120 mark and you maintain that in your formal cardio sessions. Adding formal cardio will be the fuel to the fire that's necessary. So for a lot of my clients, when I get to week 8 in their program, this is when I start to put the gas to the pedal, because at this point, they've established all the things that they need in their lifestyle, and now we just want to slowly increment and add new tools to their arsenal so it's sustainable. So to quickly lose fat, add more formal cardio, especially zone 2. When you're in that 20% to 11%, the simple answer is you do more. You can simply walk every day. This should be bread and butter to you by now. And then you can go as high as doing 6 sessions of 45 minutes of formal cardio and being in that 120 to 140. Now again, you can decide where you want to start, but if you want to be smart about it, you would just follow what I have here exactly, because there's logic and there's science, and you're allowing your body to adapt, which is the toughest thing. People don't give themselves enough time to adapt. And these are the treadmill settings. Get to between 3% and 10% on an incline, and you want to have an average heart rate of 130 beats per hour. And again, because the intensity is so high, your engine is burning so much quicker, you're going to burn more fat. And cardio is amazing for this. And when you want to get to sub 10% body fat, you can get as high as 6 sessions, like 60 minutes. Now at this rate, you may be compromising a little bit of your training and a little bit of your muscle tissue, but whenever I get to that role, I understand that my main objective is fat loss, and I want to be able to lose as much fat as possible, and then I'll worry about recovering all the muscle tissue in that time. So the fastest way is to be doing formal cardio between 130 and 140. Now, these are the treadmill settings you can follow. You can go to max incline and at 3 miles per hour. This is the big change. It's just the incline that you're using. You just want to up the intensity. And on the stair stepper, I get between level 10 to level 12. And this is me sometimes doing HIIT. So that's the next question. Hey, Mike, what do you think about HIIT? Now, HIIT is fantastic for longevity. It's a powerful tool for longevity. It does have its place, but you need to be smart about when you integrate it. And I only start recommending HIIT to my clients once they reach that 15% body fat goal, right? And here's a research paper showing the impact of high intensity exercise on energy expenditure, lipid oxidation, and body fatness. Yes, HIIT is a powerful tool, but with great power comes great responsibility. I would only suggest doing as much as 3 sessions of HIIT and no longer than 20 minutes. And with zone 2 cardio, an easy test is you should be able to have a comfortable conversation jogging on the phone and speaking to someone, and the person over the phone on the other side should be able to notice like you're doing some sort of exercise. That is a nice test to determine if you're doing zone 2. When you're doing HIIT, you cannot have a conversation. So we see a lot of people thinking they're doing HIIT, but you need to be gasping for air, and that's when you're really at that 85% VO2 max range. So now you know the simplest way, which is walking, and the fastest way is incorporating formal cardio as a form of cardio. I've actually given you multiple plans based off of your body fat percentage, and now you have no more excuses. So get your diet in check, do the cardio, and again, Cardio is not only great for the six-pack, but the VO2 max in improving your cardiovascular health is one of the most powerful longevity tools. So I'll leave the video here. Let me know what cardio you're doing. If you've done any of the cardio I've ever suggested, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want to be able to work with myself and my team of doctors at Sculpt by Science, fill out the application in the description below. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.